We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here, and today on the show, we've got our top 10 local coaches of the year, and Embry-Riddle right off the bat with two local coaches on the list. Women's basketball coach Michael Trujillo at number 10, softball coach Nicole Hennessy at number 9. And let's go to the phones right now. We're going to be talking to Embry-Riddle athletic director and world traveler Phil Hess. Hey, good morning, Phil. How you doing?
Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I guess we were kind of opposite for our vacations. While I just stayed around town and was a lazy bum, you were traveling all over the place, man.
Yeah, I managed to get around a little bit. It was a 1,400-mile trip, but it was worth it.
Oh, man. Well, I did see one of the pics you had on Facebook. I think you actually caught a picture of an SR-71 there in one of your stops, huh?
Yeah, that was down at the Science Center down in downtown LA next to the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty interesting place.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, talking about interesting stuff going on here, two of your coaches made it onto our top 10 local coaches of the year list. Let's talk about number 10, Michael Trujillo of the women's basketball team. And I know I've talked to him a lot about the way this past season went, because when you look at the first half of the season, the way the team performed, you'd be thinking, man, this team will be lucky if they even make it to the conference tournament. Well, not only did they make it, they won the whole darn thing and got to play in the national tournament for the first time. And, again, I think that's just kind of a credit to Coach Trujillo of really keeping the ladies on track that second half of the season where they just really tore it up.
It really is. I think Mike recognized that we were struggling a little bit there in the first half of the season. You were right in your comments there. And he got the team together, and they talked about it, and they came up with some different things that they wanted to do and some different things that they wanted to do from an attitude perspective. And they really turned the corner, and they played really hard down the stretch, and they were rewarded for it, and they made it to the national tournament.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that makes someone a great coach. It's not just the X's and O's. I think more importantly, you kind of have to learn how to be a psychologist and a therapist with your team in order to get the most out of them.
No, you really are, and that's something that Mike does really well. His pulse of the team is second to none, and he frequently comes down the hall to my office and tells me about they're doing this, and I got to try this, and he's always looking for new things to try. He doesn't just rely on what's happened in the past. Mm-hmm. He does a really good job with that.
And then, of course, you have Nicole Hennessy. She was our number 9 coach of the year. And I think for some people, maybe on the outside looking in, they look at a team like Embry-Riddle softball. They've won 2 straight conference titles going into this season. Coach Hennessy still had an absolutely stacked roster, and you'd probably think, all you got to do is fill up a lineup card, send the ladies out there, and they're just going to get win after win after win. But kind of like I said in my read-through, sometimes the dangers of a team like that is they get a little overconfident, and it looked like Nicole did a really good job of making sure that didn't happen, saying, hey, you got to go out there and you got to play hard every single game. And, well, look what the result was this year, a 3rd straight conference title.
No, you're right. I think you're right. And the fact that we had a stacked lineup, there's no doubt about that. Heck, I even went with them when I was coaching them there for a little while. So, it was a really, really, really good softball team. But, I think Nicole did a really good job of challenging the team early in the season with that tough schedule that you were talking about. And it was a little up and down there, playing that tough competition, and she did a good job of navigating that and teaching the team some lessons about playing really good teams, and it really prepared us well down the stretch for the conference run and the run in the tournament.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's really going to show Coach Hennessy's how she can manage this team is what the recruiting class is going to look like for this year. And we already saw what her freshman class looked like a couple years ago, bringing in players like Autumn Salusi and Leah Solis and Claire Streeter and Anise Romo and Jaden Bayless. So if she can bring in 5 big-time recruits like that a couple years ago, I'm anxious to see what a recruiting class is going to look like for this coming year.
Oh, she actually came down and talked to me about that the other day, and we're both super excited. I'm so excited to see these freshmen come in this year, and kind of replenish the roster for us. But I think she's done a really good job in the recruiting trail, and I'm really excited to see these young ladies come to campus.
Yeah. Well, kind of make sure that you get a roster up as soon as possible because there are going to be a lot of new names I'm going to have to memorize for that. Not only the softball team, but the baseball team. I'm probably going to walk in there and go, who the heck are all these guys? I don't know anyone here.
Yeah, we got a lot. We graduated a lot of kids last year, so we definitely going to have some new names for you to learn this year, John.
All right. Well, I'll be ready for it, Phil. Well, hey, Phil, I want to thank you as always for joining us here on the show. Always a pleasure to talk with you. And again, talking about two of your coaches who made our list, Michael Trujillo from Embry-Riddle Women's Basketball, our number 10 local coach of the year, and Nicole Hennessy, our number 9 coach of the year from Embry-Riddle Softball. Phil, thank you very much for joining us, man. Have a good day.
Thanks, John. You too. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. All right. Phil Hess, Athletic Director for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And let's get back into our top 10 list. Coming up, we have number 7. 2022 was a season of struggle for this volleyball team as they notched just 2 wins the entire year. Then, this coach took over the club with a family-style approach to coaching. The players bought into it, and it produced immediate results as they went from a 2-22 record the year before to a 13-16 record and earned a spot in the state play-in round. But this coach wasn't done there. In the spring, he also coached the boys volleyball team, which did not have that big a roster, but it didn't matter because he got the most out of every player to the point they posted a 15-3 record and were ranked number 7 in the 4A conference. Those achievements got him named the Skyline Region Coach of the Year. Don't be surprised if both his teams are even more successful this coming season. Congratulations to Ephraim Bernard, Coach Bernie of the Prescott girls and boys volleyball teams, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 7 local coach of the year. Next, we have number 6. Track and field might be one of the more difficult sports for a head coach because you've got lots and lots of athletes on the roster and they're spread out over multiple events, meaning that you have to put together a good staff of assistant coaches to help you out. That's exactly what this guy did. He put the right people in the right places, and it paid off, especially on the girls' side. They put in tremendous performances during the regular season, and it culminated in an incredible showing at the Division III state meet. Several athletes finished in the top 10 of their events, with one of the relay teams winning a state championship. All that helped the squad to a 4th-place team finish. With a lot of those athletes back for next season, and under his tutelage, 2025 should be an even more successful season. Congratulations to Michael Zeminski of the Prescott girls track and field team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 6 local coach of the year. Well, we're halfway through the list, folks. We're at number 5. Here's another team whose coach led them to a huge turnaround. The year before, they ended the season with an 8-18 record. In the 2023-2024 season, they flipped the script big time. Her commitment to building up the program trickled down to all her players, and their desire and skills showed on the court. They finished the season with a record of 17-8, and for the first time in several years, qualified for the postseason. For that rebound season, she was named Prescott High School's Coach of the Year, and this coach isn't waiting for the 2024-2025 season to begin to get ready. She's putting her team through many practices and tournaments during the summer so they can be even more successful in the winter. Congratulations to Jamie Johnson of the Prescott girls basketball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 5 local coach of the year. Now we have number 4. He has continued to build up this program year after year, and this past year was no different. Thanks to the tradition of success he has established, his guys were more than willing to put in the hard work required in the room. That translated into a dominating regular season as they just racked up win after win in their duels. When they got to the postseason, they were more than ready to kick butt. His team won its 3rd section championship in a row and made quite a bit of noise at the Division II state meet, taking 9th place. Even though he lost some really good guys to graduation, he's developed the program to a point he's got plenty more coming up through the pipeline. Congratulations to Bud Nollet of the Bradshaw Mountain Wrestling Team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 4 local coach of the year. Moving on to number 3. Some people might say this coach was blessed by having 2 of the top players in the state on his roster. Well, he was. But he also had some other solid guys on the team, and he knew just when to plug them into the game and get the most out of them. He also was not afraid to challenge his team, including taking them to California to play some of the top teams in that state in a big tournament. It was a challenge his team responded to with great success. The result was one of the best seasons in the program's history. They won the region title for the first time in more than 20 years. That got him the nod as the Grand Canyon Region Coach of the Year. In the state tournament, they made it to the Elite 8 and finished the season with a 23-5 record. There's no reason why he shouldn't lead his team to another terrific season in the 2024-2025 school year. Congratulations to Travis Stedman of the Prescott boys basketball team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 3 local coach of the year. Now we're at number 2. He may not have had the big-time scorers like in past seasons, but he did have enough players capable of notching a few goals here and a few goals there. That would be more than enough, as once again he put together a stifling defensive lineup that resulted in 11 shutouts during the course of the season. He also made sure that no matter how many wins they got, nothing would come easy, and they could not afford to be complacent. That philosophy worked as the team won 2 overtime games during the state tournament before coming up short in the state championship game. Still, a state runner-up finish and a 15-3-1 record is a season to be proud of. Congratulations to Todd Carey of the Chino Valley boys soccer team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup number 2 local coach of the year. Well, folks, guess where that leaves us? Yup, numero uno, number 1. Number ein, if you're listening to us in Germany. Hey, one of the few words I do remember from my high school German classes. Anyway, folks, who gets the top spot in our top 10 local coaches of the year list? Well, I'm not going to tell you right now because we're just going to extend that anticipation out a little more. We've got a break coming up here. When we come back from break, we will reveal the number 1 local coach of the year. We'll be back right after this. We are back here on the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here on this Saturday morning. Could probably be the first Saturday of the monsoon season. We've already seen some storm clouds out there. So Andrew's kind of going, yeah, keep the fingers crossed here. It's like, we'll see, man. We'll see. Well, I'll tell you what, we will also see who is our number one local coach of the year for the 2023-2024 Scholastic Sports season. But before we get to that, just again, extending out the anticipation here. Before we get to that, let's just run down numbers 10 through 2. Number 10, Michael Trujillo from Embry-Riddle Women's Basketball. Number 9, Nicole Hennessy, Embry-Riddle Softball. Number 8, Dan Osterloh, Prescott Boys Golf. Number 7, Coach Bernie Ephraim Bernard from Prescott Boys and Girls Volleyball. Number 6, Michael Zeminski from Prescott Track and Field. Number 5, Jamie Johnson from Prescott Girls Basketball. Number 4, Bud Nolet from Bradshaw Mountain Wrestling. Number 3, Travis Stedman from Prescott Boys Basketball. Number 2, Todd Carey from Chino Valley Boys Soccer. And now, here we are, number 1. She had some rebuilding to do with her team, but her approach to dealing with her players helped mold them into a successful team in a short amount of time. They blasted through their regular season schedule with victory after victory until it was time for the postseason. This is where her way of building her team paid off as they once again made it all the way to the state championship match. While they unfortunately fell short there, a state runner-up finish and a 16-2 record is one heck of an accomplishment and a reason she was named the section coach of the year and a reason why she grabbed the top spot on our list this year. Congratulations to Bobby Yoder of the Prescott badminton team, the Tri-City Sports Roundup 2023-2024 number 1 local coach of the year. And well, along with Coach Yoder, well, we got a lot of other coaches to talk about with our next guest, and that is Prescott High School Athletic Director Missy Townsend. Hey, Missy, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, John. Excited to do this.
Well, Coach, wow, oh, wow, Prescott really cleaned up on our top 10 local coaches list this year. And, well, we got to start off at the top with Coach Bobby Yoder. And kind of like I said, I've seen Bobby for a few seasons where she almost has to completely rebuild her badminton team. And it doesn't take her very long to do that. Next thing you know, well, they're in the state tournament and they're competing for a state championship. So what are some of the secrets to Bobby's success where, she just knows the right buttons to push on her players to make them into an outstanding team?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. I would say that the number one thing is her culture that she builds within her program, for sure. She builds literally a team family within every program that she's had at within badminton the last, decade. And then second, I would say she is a master at pulling out the best out of each of her players and recognizing what those strengths and skills and weaknesses are in each of her players early on. She has a really robust off-season program that she keeps going all year. And she definitely is planning, and it's almost a little bit like chess, and I suppose it's this way for a lot of my coaches, but she definitely knows the pieces to move and the players to put in and who to assign as doubles partners and singles and their order and ranking, and she's tremendous at it.
Mm-hmm. And I think another big thing is badminton's not one of these sports that you have kind of a pipeline to from, say, the middle school level like you would, say, basketball or volleyball. Basically, Bobby's just kind of going around thinking up of girls who are pretty athletic going, hey, would you like to play badminton? So it's almost like with a lot of these girls, she's starting them out from scratch, but then, look what they accomplish in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, what's funny is I think it goes back to the first thing I mentioned about her team culture. She has a program that kids want to be part of. And because of that, she gets a lot of those student athletes who maybe aren't your typical athlete, but who are extremely athletic, who maybe don't do volleyball or aren't runners or swimmers. And she pulls them in, and they are hardcore badminton girls who are just doing amazing things. And as a parent who's had an athlete go through her program, I can just say that her players love her and will do everything that they can to do what she wants them to do.
And, well, like I said, Bobby wasn't the only Prescott coach on this list. You actually had a ton of them on this year. Might as well just go down here. Travis Stedman from the Prescott boys basketball team. What a season he had. And it's kind of funny because when you're around Travis, he has this easygoing attitude about him. And one of the more sarcastic guys you will ever meet, probably why me and Travis get along so well. But you get him out on the court, and he certainly knows his basketball. He knows how to coach. And like I said, it's like, a lot of people say, well, yeah, it helps to be a good coach when you got two guys like Uriah Tenet and Zane Gall on the roster. But, it's not just having really great players on the roster. It's what you do with them and what you do with the other players you have on the roster that makes you a successful coach.
Absolutely. Travis is a special guy. I mean, he's a longtime coach. As you mentioned, he's extremely knowledgeable in the game of basketball, and I love what he does with this program. And you're spot on, John. People will look on and say, oh, well, it must be easy. You guys can win, when you've got Zane and Uriah on the team. And I would argue that it's very difficult because those are 2 out of 15 players and 2 out of 50 players in the program. And the fact that he continues to develop players and finds the right people to put in at the right places and the right time, to complement, to support, to play, to keep happy and maintain a program where kids want to be part of, that's hard. That's really hard. It's hard to take 2 superstars and 2 tremendous athletes, Zane and Uriah, and build around them and make players want to continue to play for that program. And Travis and his staff are phenomenal at it.
Mm. Well, speaking of another phenomenal coach, and this kind of goes back to what I said during my monologue about how I come up with my top 10 local coaches of the year. And sometimes it's not about, well, did this coach win a championship or something? Sometimes it's, what did this coach do to completely turn around the program? And that leads us to Jamie Johnson of girls basketball, the number 5 local coach of the year. And when you go from an 8-18 record to a 17-8 record, and you qualify your team for the playoffs, and then you get named Prescott High School Coach of the Year, you want to talk about someone who has just really brought this program kind of back to life.
Absolutely. Jamie is special. I absolutely love talking about all these coaches, John. And I appreciate you having me on. But Jamie is incredible. What she has done with that girls basketball program, and if anyone hasn't been able to come out and watch her team and watch how she coaches these girls and how she pours her heart and soul into this program, you're truly missing out. She's done some amazing things. Again, going back to kind of this drum I'm beating, but the culture she's built within that program of getting girls to come out and play basketball that for years haven't, getting some of those really strong volleyball players to come and play girls basketball, to get some of these athletes that have played other sports, maybe their other sport is their primary sport, and to come out and play girls basketball and find such success is something that's pretty special. And as you mentioned, our coaching staff, we've got tremendous coaches. And the fact that our coaching staff chose Jamie as the coach of the year for Prescott High School speaks volumes about their respect for her and what she's done.
Okay. And then, of course, at number 6, we have Michael Zeminski from the track and field team. And kind of what I said in his read-through, when you're a track and field coach, it might be kind of hard to be a head coach because you got so many athletes in so many different positions. And I think probably the big skill of a head track coach is to get really good assistants to help out all those kids participating in different events.
Yeah, Michael Zeminski, young coach who's been around with us for several years, alumni of Prescott. He and Austin Turner, our other head coach for track and field at Prescott, have done an amazing job of really, as you said, again, those chess piece moves and finding the athletes to fit and then finding the coaches to coach them. Again, a very special guy that both he and Austin put an amazing amount of time in. Michael's also our cross-country coach, and the time that he puts in, I would say, rival any of our other coaches as far as how often he's on campus offering workouts to athletes and helping them individually continue to grow is probably bar none at our high school.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the final 2 on the list at number 7, we have Coach Bernie Ephraim Bernard. I mean, along with, getting the boys volleyball team a great season, ranked number 7 in the state. You look at what he did with the girls volleyball team, really turning their season around, turning their fortunes around. And then, of course, at number 8, you have Dan Osterloh, who put in another really good season for Prescott boys golf. So, Coach Burney, Coach Osterloh, I mean, talk about 2 more really good coaches you got at Prescott.
Absolutely. Both of them, again, family, taking their teams and really building a culture within their programs that it's more than just their sport, but also both of them extremely knowledgeable in their games that they're there. If you've met Birdie, you've loved him. Even if you only met him for 30 seconds, you walk away thinking that's the most wonderful man and that he is just the most positive, fun-loving guy. And his Hawaiian culture and spirit that he brings to our school is something very special. And Dan's ability to take players and move them along, it's one of those quiet programs. I don't think a lot of people pay a lot of attention to golf, and maybe some of our, colleges like Embry-Riddle and their success that they've found there. People don't realize what Dan has done for that boys program and the success that he's had there over the last several years with that program. He has truly brought some kids and has probably put on, as far as percentage-wise of athletes that go on to play at the next level, I think he has one of the highest percentage of players that continue to move on and play. Obviously, he only has about 7 players on varsity, but every year consistently he has boys that he's helping to move on to the next level to continue to play golf. And their win percentage has just gone through the roof since he's taken over the program. So amazing coaches all the way around. And thank you, John, for honoring them and recognizing their hard work.
Hey, my pleasure, Missy. That's why we do these top 10 lists. And hey, I want to thank you very much for joining us here on the show today and just telling people a little bit more about these coaches, since you're around them a heck of a lot more than I am. But anyway, always a pleasure to have you on the show, Missy. And hey, you have yourself a great day, and maybe keep an umbrella handy because you might need it today.
Absolutely. Thank you, John, for all you guys do.
You got it. Have a good one, Missy. All right, again, Missy Townsend, athletic director for Prescott High School. And we got another top 10 list coming up for you next Saturday on the show. Next Saturday, it's one of my favorites. It is the top 10 local grads at college of the year. How do some of our local alumni do at their new institutions? Well, we'll find out next week. And, of course, don't forget, folks, coming up here, it's our slate of local talk for Saturday morning. Coming up next, we got Healthline with Dr. Hancock. Actually, it's going to be a best of show. Doc Hancock is on vacation this week. And then coming up at 10 a.m., it's Drive Time AZ, so you can get all your automotive questions answered on that show. So, again, Healthline at 9 o'clock. And Drive Time Arizona at 10 o'clock. And next Saturday, Tri-City Sports Roundup starting at 8 o'clock. Top 10 local grads at College of the Year. Well, folks, thank you very much for joining us here on the show. Appreciate your time. We will see you again next